Jaguar's beautiful mistake. When a rebrand is too right. The Jaguar rebrand was not a design failure. It was a mirror, and what people saw in it had almost nothing to do with typography. Millions of people were furious about the new Jaguar logo, the new ad, the new everything. Here is the part nobody wanted to talk about. Almost none of them owned a Jaguar. Sales had been collapsing for years. The showrooms were thinning out. The brand was commercially dying in plain sight, and nobody said a word. But the moment someone changed the logo, everyone suddenly cared. Why do we mourn brands we never bought? Why does a leaping cat on a hood we never touched feel like something that belongs to us? And what happens when a company decides the version of itself you loved was the thing that was killing it? Understanding this matters because the Jaguar backlash is not really about Jaguar. It is about the silent contract between brands and the people who use them as identity scaffolding, and what breaks when that contract gets revoked without warning. The Jaguar mythology was never really about cars. I mean, it was, but it was about a very specific feeling that cars could give you. The E-Type, widely considered one of the most beautiful cars ever built, was not just an automobile. It was a cultural object. British racing green, walnut dashboards, the long, predatory hood with that leaping cat catching sunlight at the tip. Jaguar meant something. It meant understated power, old-world taste, a kind of elegance that did not need to announce itself. For decades, that mythology sustained the brand through mediocre reliability, through corporate ownership changes, through an increasingly competitive luxury market. People did not buy Jaguars because they were the best cars. They bought them because of what owning one said about you. But here is the problem with mythology. It does not show up on a balance sheet. By the early 2020s, Jaguar's sales were in genuine freefall. The brand was bleeding market share to BMW, Mercedes, even Tesla. The cars themselves had become forgettable, stuck in a no-man's land between true luxury and accessible premium. The leaping cat was still on the hood, but fewer and fewer people were walking into dealerships to see it. The heritage everyone would later claim to love? It was a museum exhibit. Beautiful, yes, but commercially inert. So when Jaguar Land Rover's leadership decided to pivot, the desperation was real. This was not a creative director having a vision board moment. This was a company staring at an existential cliff and deciding to jump rather than slide. The plan was radical. Walk away from 85% of the existing customer base, reposition as an ultra-luxury brand, go fully electric, sell fewer cars at dramatically higher prices, target younger, wealthier, more urban consumers, and to signal that none of the old rules applied, strip everything. The leaping cat, the serif typography, the entire visual language that said British motoring heritage. Replace it with a lowercase JR monogram, a mixed-case Jaguar wordmark with inexplicable capital letters in the middle, and a color palette that looked like it belonged to a Scandinavian skincare line. Then came the ad. The Copy Nothing campaign launched with a film featuring striking androgynous models draped in saturated color, bold fashion, dramatic poses, avant-garde energy, and zero cars. Not a single vehicle in the entire spot. For a car company, the internet did what the internet does. Within 48 hours, it became the most discussed rebrand of 2024, and not in the way most CMOs dream about. The backlash was immediate, visceral, and enormous. People called it the death of a brand. They called it woke. They called it the worst logo change in corporate history. Car owners posted videos threatening to sell their Jaguars. Elon Musk weighed in. Reddit threads spiraled into thousands of comments. One user captured the new aesthetic perfectly. It is giving organic, ethically sourced health supplements. The creative community was more divided. Forbes called the strategy absolute genius, with one contributor saying he could not remember any automotive launch getting that much attention in his years covering the industry. Marketing professor Scott Galloway called it the worst brand move of 2024. Branding analysts pointed out that the new identity spoke fluent contemporary fashion. Place it next to old Celine and it fits perfectly. Place it next to Bentley, Rolls-Royce, or Aston Martin, and it looks like it wandered in from a different industry entirely. Which, of course, was the point. And this is where the commercial logic gets interesting. Jaguar did not stumble into this. They planned for the backlash. Internal analyses acknowledged that breaking conventions invites hostility, especially from established audiences, and the company essentially welcomed the conversation. Good or bad, people were talking about Jaguar for the first time in years, maybe decades. The strategic bet was clear. The people who were angriest were overwhelmingly not customers. They were aspirational admirers, people who used Jaguar's image as a reference point for taste they had not purchased. The actual target, ultra-high net worth buyers looking for something nobody else had, might respond to exclusivity through alienation. If everyone hates it and you love it, that is the most exclusive position a luxury brand can occupy. Now compare this with Ferrari's expansion into lifestyle. Ferrari opened a restaurant, launched a fashion line, built a theme park, and nobody accused them of betraying their identity. Why? Because they kept the car at the center of the mythology while expanding outward. The prancing horse was always there, anchoring every extension. Jaguar tried the inverse: lead with lifestyle, follow with product. The Type 00 concept car did not arrive until weeks after the ad campaign, and by then the narrative was already cemented. The sequencing was the mistake, not the design. When the Type 00 finally appeared, it was genuinely striking. Angular, massive, deliberately unlike any Jaguar before it. Disguised prototypes were already testing on real roads. This was not vaporware. But leading with abstraction before showing the thing gave critics weeks to fill the void with their own stories. But here is what makes this case genuinely unprecedented. The backlash machine has changed. 10 years ago, a rebrand could breathe. It had weeks, sometimes months, to settle into public consciousness before a verdict formed. Now, the algorithmic reaction loop compresses judgment into hours. Twitter threads, TikTok breakdowns, YouTube hot takes, all firing simultaneously. The design conversation gets swallowed by the culture war conversation before anyone has time to sit with the work. Some of the Jaguar backlash was genuinely about branding. Some was thinly veiled hostility to the androgynous models and the perceived politics of the ad. Those two streams merged into one undifferentiated wave of outrage, and separating legitimate design criticism from reactionary anger became nearly impossible. This is the new environment every heritage brand faces. The EV transition is forcing every legacy automaker to answer a terrifying question. What are you beyond the combustion engine? Jaguar's answer, "We are a luxury object, not a driving machine," is honest. It might even be correct. But honesty and correctness do not protect you when the algorithm rewards instant outrage over patient observation. By late 2025, the CMO who had championed the rebrand had left the company. The vision reportedly remained intact, but the exit raised quiet questions about internal conviction. Jaguar deliberately paused sales entirely in 2025 to clear the decks before the new car arrives. British press who have already driven it say it is genuinely striking. The verdict is not final. It may never be simple. So was the Jaguar rebrand a beautiful mistake? Maybe the more honest framing is that it was a necessary rupture dressed in the wrong clothes. The old Jaguar was already gone. The new one just had the audacity to say so out loud. If you never owned a Jaguar, never planned to buy one, never even sat in one, why did the new logo feel like a personal loss? What exactly was taken from you? If this changed how you think about the logos you carry in your head, share it with someone who has ever felt betrayed by a brand that was never really theirs. Like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you do not miss what is next.